All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And unfortunately, I try to share my screen, but something is going on here where it's not allowing me to do it at the moment. So I'll try to get that fixed and then get back into it. But this lesson, I'm gonna just go ahead and do it anyway, and I'll just read the scriptures and so on and so forth. Now there was a video, which actually what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the link in here, and this video was put up by Biblical Defenders, and just put it in the chat here. Now I did see the the beginning part of it, which is the first half of this video that I'm doing. And what I'll do is I'll play the audio so you can hear it, because really that's the important part. Okay, you can hear it, and then if you want, you can also check out the video yourself over there. All right, but that's the part that goes into the studying to show yourself approved. All right, but I first want to address a comment, all right, on the comment board first, and then go into that part of the lesson. And this is a comment that was left on the video that I did. I believe, when was this? Yesterday, 2 days ago? Yeah, about a day ago. On is the God of the Bible actually evil? All right, and there was a comment left by a woman named B. Pamela, and so she said, "Please, I wanted to ask if sudden death of a child is judgment from his or her previous life. What about the pain caused to the parents and the relatives of the child? My sister just lost her 6-year-old, and the pain is unbearable. Please do well to reply. Thanks." So what I said was, Lord willing, I'll address your concern in the video. And she said, "Thank you. Greetings from Cameroon." All right, which those are Jake anyway. But anyway, so I'm gonna address that real quick. Now, I did mention in the video that you have, for example, a child might be, brought onto earth and then might have to go through a certain kind of judgment. All right, which the Lord might have put upon that child as a result of something they might have done, maybe some wickedness they might have done in the past life. Okay, because if sometimes the Lord might do something to your loved one, and it might hurt you, and he might do that to judge your ass. But the only time the Lord will really do that is if your loved one has also done something worthy of judgment. And then in that case, he might just set the timing right to where the judgment he brings on your loved one is also judgment on you. But if your loved one is, somebody, let's say of the elect that hasn't done anything to really piss off the Lord, then he ain't just gonna put hell on them for no reason, for you, because that's if the Lord was to say, "Look, you got a wicked parent, but you of the elect, so I'm gonna bring judgment on you just so I could get to your family or your parents, even though you've done nothing wrong." But dealing with the question that was asked here about the family and the relatives and those that have to bear the pain of the loss of their child or their loved one, at the end of the day, that's all you can do. And all you can do is bear the pain of it. Even though you love them, judgment. In that case, judgment is judgment. The Most High cannot omit judgment because it'll hurt you or something like that. All right. If there's a wicked individual or somebody that has done something that the Most High wants to judge them for, all right, or he wants to take them to the spirit world for, because hey, there's times when the Most High will put somebody to death, and it might not just be as a form of a grievous judgment. Okay. Nevertheless, this is the book of Job, chapter 4, verse 7. And it says, "Remember, I pray thee, whoever perished meaning to be destroyed, being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off?" So going in there meaning that the Most High won't just take somebody out who's innocent. All right. And if you're righteous, you ain't just gonna get cut off. But say you put it to the case where, this situation did happen. Well, as the family members, or as the mother, or as the father, or whatnot, you're gonna have, you mourn for your child, but at the end of the day, that's really all you can do. You pray for strength, but you don't let that, don't let the pain consume you. All right. And the scriptures speak on that. So this is the book of Ecclesiasticus, or the book of Sirach, chapter 38, verse 16. And it says, my son, let me actually pull it up here. All right, Ecclesiasticus chapter 38, verse 16. So like here. All right. So it says, my son, let tears fall down over the dead, and begin to lament, as if thou hadst suffered great harm thyself. Which that's a normal reaction when you lose a loved one, right? You mourn for them, almost as if you the one who got, physically hurt. It says, and then cover his body according to the custom, and neglect not his burial. So you mourn for them, and then you bury them. Weep bitterly, and make great moan, and use lamentation, as he is worthy. And that a day or two, lest thou be evil spoken of. Meaning, mourn for your child, at least, a couple of days, lest you be evil spoken of, right? Because people might look and say, oh, here it is, your child died, and you ain't even mourn for them, not even a day. That's pretty much what he's saying here. It says, and then comfort thyself for thy heaviness. So after you mourn, comfort yourself for your heaviness, right? The heavy, sorrowful spirit that you're in. It says, for of heaviness cometh death, and the heaviness of the heart breaketh strength. So after you mourn, and you bury your loved one, and so on and so forth, eventually you have to get over it. You have to let it go slowly. You don't dwell in it and let the pain consume you, because that can put you in a state, as we're reading here in verse 18, for of heaviness cometh death, to the point where you don't want to live anymore. Like Job. All right. It says, and the heaviness of the heart, meaning your mind, breaketh strength. You fall into that state of just complete, just heaviness, that you don't want to do anything. You're just there. It says here, and a good book I would advise to read is also the book of Job. But also be comforted in the fact that in the spirit world, they're not feeling pain. They're not going through any of that stuff. And if they be of the elect, you're gonna see them again. Even if they're not of the elect, you're still gonna see them again. All right. If you're of the elect, you're gonna see them again. Even if you're not of the elect, you're still gonna see them again, because when Yahushua comes back and we establish the kingdom, ultimately all those spirits that died, they're gonna come back. Okay, that's how reincarnation works. So it's never really, oh, I never see you again. And also in the kingdom, we're gonna be, changed, as the scriptures say. We're gonna be gods. We're gonna have spiritual power. So we will be able to identify spirits. We will be able to know, well, this individual was that individual in the past life. All right, the Lord is gonna open up our minds. So don't feel as though you've lost them forever. You're never gonna see them again, because we always, and plus in the kingdom we're all gonna be immortal. All right, as Israelites. So it says here, verse 19, in affliction also sorrow remaineth, and the life of the poor is the curse of the heart. And it could be also that the Lord did that. Let me see. Consider it. There's a scripture right here. Oh man, where is it at? The evil. There's a beautiful precept here I'm thinking of. And I really hope I find it. Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second. taken from the evil to come. You know, there's just sometimes there's just that one precept. You just got to chase it. All right, you just got to chase it because it's a good one. All right, this is Isaiah. I believe it's Isaiah 57. Let's get that real quick. All right, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 57, verse 1. And it says, "The righteous perisheth, and no man layeth it to heart, and merciful men are taken away, none considering that the righteous is taken away from the evil to come." All right, so that's also another case where the Lord might just have mercy and take out. There's something called a mercy killing, right? And what we know about a mercy killing is what we know about a mercy killing is, say that there was you were living in a village or a town, and they were like bandits or some whatever coming to raid and pillage the village. You would have cases where men would kill their families, their wives, their children, and then themselves, and they would call it a mercy killing because the fate that their family would suffer, or they and their family would suffer, would be worse if they were alive and the enemies got hold of them. Okay, so they'd rather die the way they were than to have to suffer the things that would come upon them. All right, so as it says here, none considereth that the righteous is taken away from the evil to come. So it may be the Lord might have decided to have mercy and just taken them, so they wouldn't have to go through necessarily the famines and the stuff that are to hit upon the earth right now, or that are coming real soon. Okay, but we can only give you the different possibilities of what the Lord, or why the Lord could have done it, or what scenarios, according to the scriptures, pertain to these kinds of situations. But we can't tell you exactly why the Lord did it. But continuing back in Ecclesiasticus 38, in terms of how you should handle it when your loved one is taken away, that's right now, this is what we'd have to deal with. Okay, so it says, Ecclesiasticus 38 and 19, in affliction also sorrow remaineth, and the life of the poor is the curse of the heart. Take no heaviness. I hope I'm reading the right verses. Yep. Take no heaviness to heart, drive it away, and remember the last end. So though you're in a state of sorrow, don't let it, like I said, consume you. Don't let it stay on your mind so heavily. Drive it away. Eventually start trying to get back into your regular course, your things that you normally do. All right. It says, and remember the last end. Okay, ultimately remember that we lose members along the way, but the Lord said, whatever you lose here, if you of the elect, you're gonna get back 100-fold. All right. So remember that there's still a job that we have to do, and that's to endure unto the end. It says here, verse 21, forget it not, for there is no turning again. Thou shalt not do him good, but hurt thyself. So at the end of the day, in the case that someone that you love gets taken away, you can't reverse that, right? There is no turning again. And if you just continue to just stay in that state where it becomes unproductive to you, and you're just in a state of what they would call, quote unquote, depression and so on, you're not going to do your loved one any good, because all those that state, and you letting that get to you to that point, okay, that's not going to bring them back. Neither is it going to benefit them over there in the spirit world. Okay, but it says what? Thou shalt not do him good, but hurt thyself. You only going to be hurting yourself even more. So you mourn, you go through whatever process you have to go through, you bury your child, and then you pray. Of course, that's the first thing. Pray for strength, because it's never an easy thing. But then you just pray that the Lord strengthen you, and that he holds you, and that you ultimately endure unto the end, and then you continue to the best of your ability to go about your life. Okay, because these things happen, but the best comfort we can have is in the scriptures. Some people get, it hurts them even more because they don't have proper understanding on what actually happens after the child is gone or after the loved one dies. You know, they think they'll never see them again. All right. Oh man, it's over. I'm never gonna ever see such and such and spend time with them again. But that's not true. All right. They're in the spirit world right now. They see what's going on. You know, they understand everything. They're in their proper order. And depending on how the Lord has it, you know, you'll see them again, whether, you know, he decides to raise them up at the last day or whether, you know, you're going to see them in the kingdom. They come back again as a baby. All right. And the Lord might have it to where if you're of the elect, he could have that same spirit come back through your loins. All right. And just give you that child again. Verse 22, it says, remember my judgment, for thine also shall be so, yesterday for me and today for thee. Yeah, because ultimately the same, you know, the same way somebody dies in process of time, you also gonna die, which is the cycle of life, you know. So if he died, you know, he died yesterday, today you gonna die. But it's not talking about literally yesterday and today, but meaning that somebody dies, you may love them, they may be somebody close to you, but in process of time, since that's how the course of nature works, eventually you're gonna die. All right. But see, the thing is, in this time, all right, the Lord said that there be some of you standing here which shall not taste of death till they see the Son of Man coming. Meaning that in this generation that we are in, there are going to be some of us here that aren't going to die, that are going to be alive to witness Yahushua's return. And if we be of the elect, we're going to be changed from that point on. So we won't have to go into the grave because the Lord will change us upon his return. And once he changes us, we're just going to continue to live on forever. All right. So that cycle, in essence, will for us will be broken. We won't have to die, you know, and then come back again. That's immortality. Ecclesiasticus 38, verse 23. It says, when the dead is at rest, let his remembrance rest, and be comforted for him when the spirit or when his spirit is departed from him. All right. So after a while, you know, you mourn, but then you gotta start going back to what it is that you gotta do, you know, and let nature take its course, you know, but understand that you're gonna see them again. You know, it's not the end all be alls. You're never gonna, you know, but in Lord willing, you know, in the kingdom, we're gonna know who everybody is. So it's not gonna be oh well, they might be on the earth again, but I don't know who they are. You know, the Lord has blocked our remembrance of our past lives now, all right, for the purpose which he has done it. But in the kingdom, he's going to give us back that understanding. All right. So that was just that to deal with you know, that part of the question. Ultimately, you know, the parents and the family members, that's something you're just going to have to deal with. You know, pray to the Lord, and you're just gonna, you know, have to go through just the mourning, the burying, and just continue on, you know, as you have to. All right, there's not really much you can do in that sense, but pray for the strength to continue on going. All right, and as the scripture advised, don't let that heaviness consume you, because of heaviness cometh death. You know, your health might start to, you know, deteriorate because you're not eating, or you're not, you know, you're not taking care of yourself. All right, and that's going to become counterproductive, and you don't want that. All right. So now moving on to the next part of this, like I mentioned, this was a video that I literally just saw this morning. All right, it was put up by Biblical Defenders. I forget the brother's name at the moment, you know, but he definitely does do some good videos. So subscribe and be edified. But let me go ahead and play it. Like I said, my screen is having trouble. You know, I have to fix the settings so I can screen share again. But, you know, I can always play the video so that you can hear, all right, the audio of it. And that's pretty much all you need, the audio. All right, so let me click on that real quick. And let me know if you can hear it.
Well, it's a time for hate and it's a time for peace. You know what I'm saying? But if, as Saul said, if the one thing that we have, we can have our king, our king, under our king. You see what I'm saying? That's how it's just our.
Karatazaba. All right, come the water. And just let me know if the audio is not too clear. Then you know what? I'll just speak on it, and then like I've pinned I've pinned the video in the chat. You know, so as a matter of fact, I just do it that way. I pinned the video in the chat. All right, so you know, just you can click on the video. It's about 5 or 6 minutes at the beginning, and you can hear the dialogue that's being had. Now I'm going to speak on it and just, you know, just cover a little bit of it, which there's a reason why the scriptures say, all right, in the book of Timothy as well as the book of Ezekiel. See, oh, it's clear. Okay, con. All right, let me go ahead and play it then. The water. But anyway, before I play it, there's a reason why the scriptures say, study to show yourself approved unto the Most High. Now we tell you that, you know, if you're an Israelite, you know, you a man, you got the Spirit is on you, you got to, you know, teach, but you can't just jump to being a teacher. All right, what are you going to teach? You got to teach what you know, but if you never learned anything, how are you going to teach? See, teaching is not about just talking. You have to, there's content within the words that you speak, and you have to know how to articulate your thoughts clearly and to convey that point to somebody else and be able to answer questions. You know, it's not just I'm gonna watch videos and I'm gonna see how you brothers teach, and I'm just gonna mimic it. No, it's not. It may look different on camera, but when you're actually there doing it, it's a different feel. This is real life. People come up. This ain't just like a YouTube video. You could just block somebody if they ask a question and you're not happy with it. In real life, people, you know what I'm saying, people will come up and ask you things, and you have to be prepared and ready to answer them. All right. So let me read this real quick and I'll play the video. Hebrews 5:12. It says, "For when for the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again." And in the video, you're gonna hear that the individual says, you know, he woke up and it's been 2 months. You know, it's been 2 months. If it's been 2 months, you know, you still need more time to learn and to really grasp and get grounded and rooted. All right. It says here, ye have need that one teach you again. So you got to first get a firm understanding, especially if you're going to go out there by yourself. He was standing there by himself. I don't know if he was, you know, trying to like hold a camp or whatever. I think he had his woman there with him or something, or whoever it was another lady. And, you know, people were coming up and asking him questions, and, you know, he would speak, right? But he wasn't able to just go into the scriptures and prove what he was saying, you know, and that's the part right there. Remember, we're teaching the words of the Lord. We have to be able to prove what we're saying according to the scriptures. That's in the book of 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter and the 21st verse. So it says, "Ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of God, and are become such as have need of milk and not of strong meat." So people may come up to you asking questions, and now these people, you may have seen a video of maybe a brother or elder handling them, you know, light work, and you may, oh, okay, let me go do it too. But you have to actually study, because the Spirit may be on you, but the Spirit utilizes the knowledge in your head. If you don't really have information, you may want to speak, but what are you speaking on? Right? So let me play this now. And the one you hear speaking with a slightly lighter voice is the individual who's quote unquote teaching, right?
Well, it's a time for hate and it's a time for peace. You know what I'm saying? But if, that's all I'm saying. If the one thing that we had, we can have our king, our king, under our king. You know what I'm saying? That's all. Just ours. But they accept it too. What is it first? If I say it's Christ white or black, but they say color don't matter, but I can go in and says he's black. That matters. He's black. It ain't no show. It matters. It matters to us. You feel what I'm saying? It's a, I gotta talk to him first. I gotta whatever. I'm focused on him right now. Right? You feel what I'm saying?
So then the woman standing next to him tells him that one of the people wants to know where the scriptures say that Yahushua was dark skinned. And then he's like, well, I gotta talk to this guy first, right? I gotta deal with him first. Which you could sort of see that he's not to the level where he can just get the precepts off the top. That in process, of teaching and teaching and teaching, you pull out precepts over and over and over again. You start off as a reader or whatnot. Eventually it'll just become second nature. You'll know where it is. Sometimes you'll just be speaking and a precept will just pop into your head, But since, as he's gonna tell you, he had been awake for only 2 months, he wasn't rooted. So that's why he wasn't able to really navigate or control the course of the dialogue with the scriptures. And that's our key right there. When we're out there teaching, our basis, our ground, our territory is the scriptures. So we always have to, whatever we say, we got to root it and back it up with the scriptures.
Is he a just God or unforgiving God? Is he a just God or unforgiving God? You see how I'm shaking right now? Something wrong. I don't know what it is, but I feel like I don't have the words. You know what I'm saying? With the notes. You can't be just.
You see, he said, I feel like I don't have the words. And then she asked him if he wants his book with his notes. And, he's sort of like trying to still, go without it. But let's keep listening.
Young people have to, well, not young people. Do you have anything about Armenians? Armenians. You know the first country. See, it's British. I don't know what that is, but I can say.
See, so he says, do we have anything on the Armenians? And this is not to make fun of him or anything like that, but this is just to show you what happens when why the scriptures say study to show yourself approved. And when you read in Ezekiel, the scriptures say that eat the whole roll and then go and teach the house of Israel. You have to eat first. We just read in Hebrews 5, you have to be taught, you have to learn, you have to actually, to know that you truly understand something is when you're able to teach it. Okay, and that's why this is important. See, a lot of people they say, oh, the camp's this, the camp's that. But when you're in a camp, you learn a lot. Because when you're in a camp, you don't start off as a speaker. All right, unless you are by yourself, and if you're by yourself, then you want to make sure that you're firmly rooted before you go out there. All right. But when you're in the camp, you start off whether you're holding signs or you holding post or eventually you're reading. And reading is look, when you are a reader, that builds you up a lot. Because when you're a reader, you're able to observe what's going on. You're able to observe the speaker and how he deals with certain individuals, and the more precepts, whether the speaker calls for precepts and you pull it, or a precept comes to mind and you pull it up, you're in essence providing the ammunition, and you're becoming more well versed with the precepts. I've been a reader for such and such, but readers are important. The more you read, the more well versed you become, the more familiar you are with, well, which part of the scriptures are these verses in. How does this verse tie in with this? How does this go in here with this? You actually gain that experience. So now when you're speaking, it's not difficult. You're already, used to that feel. Oh yeah, I already know this precept here. Give me this and then you tie it in. There's times when you might bring out a precept as you're being a reader, and you hear the speaker break it down. And so guess what? Now you learn, oh, okay, so that's what that means. Oh, okay, cool. Or you might hear the speaker call for two different precepts that you probably never heard before, and you might tie them in to prove a point. Now you learn, oh, okay, that's a good combo. I can use this precept and that precept. Might take notes in that, go and study it. So you actually gain a lot of experience when you're in a camp. All right. And by the time you actually start to speak or you become a speaker, you've gone through the proper channels. All right. And you understand, okay, how does this work? What is this? You get it down so that if somebody comes up to you, you know how to handle it. All right. But if you just go out, boom, I just saw this, I'm out there, I'm jumping out there. and you don't have a foundation, when these, when people come up, the Most High is really behind it. Sometimes the Most High sends people to come on there to to uh uh, um to come on there to test you, to see how well are you, how well studied are you. Okay, are you dividing the word of truth correctly? The Lord might send somebody up there. He might send a historian. He might send a really good talker, somebody who's a mean scoffer, asking all these different questions. Somebody that might be well versed in scriptures that come in. So what about this precept? What when he said, when you look at videos, for example, of like how Vocab Malone goes up, whether he goes to the apostles or he goes to the Dallas brothers and over here, and you look at the way he gets dealt with. There's times when he asks questions that you have to actually be knowledgeable in the scriptures to be able to deal with that, because he's going to pull a precept here and he's going to pull a precept there and say, well, this means this because that's what he's been taught, and he's trying to come and stomp you. But if you're not versed and you don't know the scriptures and you haven't eaten the whole roll, when he jumps to a precept, you might, oh shit, I never really and at that point he may be wrong, but because you don't have an answer, he's going to go around and say, oh, see, I was right. What am I? Look, they can't answer. So you want to make sure that because we've covered all these things. All right. So you want to make sure you watch these videos. That's why it's important to watch these videos and learn. Don't watch just to watch. Watch, take notes, study the notes, learn what these scriptures mean. What is this talking about? If somebody came up and said this to me, how would I defend it? How would I defend the point if somebody came? That's why we do these videos, so you can learn these things. All right. Right. This is Judah 12-144. Shalom. I did a video on this a week ago. I told the brother to follow GMS. Yeah. And there's a reason we say that. It's not just, oh, we just want people to just watch our videos or watch, GMS videos, but that's where you learn the doctrine. That's where you learn the scriptures. That's where you get the correct understanding and we speak on everything, so that's why, the scriptures tell you once again, which I'm going to pull that precept out, but I just want to finish playing this video. You have to study to show yourself approved. All right. That you don't, you're not ashamed when you're out there. So I'm going to play that back again.
When I tell people, do we have anything about the Armenians? The what? The Armenians. They're Armenians. We know the first country. See, it's a language. I don't know what that is, but I can say Romans and everything. Y'all probably go out in the box. And it's white. You got the seed of Esau will be no more. Said they've been destroyed. They are like him of stubble. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Because it's not time to tell a brother. I've only been on going on 2 months, and I'm really trying to find it because I want to say something. It don't make sense to me. You need to be that they come with all the.
Yeah, that. So he's saying I don't know. I'm trying to find out. And that. But so if you're trying to find out, then you shouldn't be out there teaching. Because when you're trying to find out, you're learning, you're studying. So after you find out and you are sure that what you found out is the truth, all right, and that you've learned the necessary parts you need to learn, that's when you go out. Okay. And like we always say, even if you go out and you see like a GMS camp or whatnot, or you see brothers, and they're teaching the correct doctrine. If you standing out, on the side listening for a year, 2 years, however long it is, don't be so hasty to try and jump. Oh, I gotta teach. You can still do videos, making sure that you're teaching what's right. But the Lord will put you where you need to be in due time. Okay. If the Lord says, I want you teaching on the street highways, and trust me, there's nobody, not one soul on the earth can stop that from happening. And if the Lord says it's not time and you try to force it, then you're going to end up in a position that you might not want to be in. All right. So everything happens on the Lord's time, but it's about patience. Some brothers grow faster than others. All right. But you can't just sit, I look at a brother, oh, the way he's teaching, I want to teach that way. So I'm just going to watch his videos and then go out there and just repeat what he said. It doesn't work that way. All right. Right. Premature, prematurely. The scriptures, as we read in Hebrews 5, you have need of milk, and then eventually and that's the thing, it's the patience. All right. You have to be patient. You actually have to take notes. You have to take notes and go home and read and study those notes and go over those precepts. If you hear a precept, you write down what is the breakdown to it. What does this precept mean? Oh, okay. There was a point made, right? And these were the precepts used to make that point. Let me write them down. Let me go home and read those precepts, look at the point and see, can I understand how how it makes sense that these precepts back up this point? And in doing that, you might arrive at certain questions, and then from those questions, the next time you go back, see the benefit of being in a camp or listening to brothers. You can ask, you can come back next week with questions. Oh, I was reading this, or you had mentioned this, or I was watching this video here, and in this precept that says this, but I'm not too sure. Each time you come back and you ask those questions, you get those answers, you write it down and you go and study it. Guess what? That's something new that you have learned. And before you know it, you've covered all the necessary grounds. So that way, whatever avenue somebody comes up to you with, whether Christianity or Islam or whatever, Catholicism and whatever they come with you with, at some point you've covered that. So you know how to defend the gospel. You know how to defend the scriptures against that. All right. But you have to be patient. Let's keep going.
I'm really trying to find it because I'm only four. Some of them destroyed. They are like to him of stubble. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. But it's not talking to the brother. I've only been on going on 2 months, and I'm really trying to find it because I want to say something, but it don't make sense to me. You need to be that they come with all. No, I understand some of them didn't do it. They profit off of us. They live better than us. It's just a fact. It's not. It don't make sense. God is a just God. Somebody got to pay for that. Somebody got to pay. Did our generations that didn't do that, did they pay for shit that they didn't do? We only went in this because we were cursed. You see what I'm saying? So it's like a father fixing his children. You want to keep following that of heathens of other want to praise other gods? All right, then go praise them. That makes sense to me. I'm gonna help your ass for it. We're gonna see whether you come out and you realize what you need to do next. It makes sense to me as a father. It makes sense to me. You know what I'm saying? So I can't recall everything that I know is there, but I know it's something that I'm feeling. It don't make sense to me.
See, so like he's saying now, it makes sense to him. He understand. Basically, it makes sense to me, and this. But yeah, that's one thing. It's in the book, but to be able to teach, you have to be able to go into the book and prove what it is that you're saying. That's right. Judah 12:144. Definitely have to study and have your sword precepted. Yep, up to the T, especially if you're by yourself. Yeah, having brothers is a blessing, man. Brothers who teach by themselves, they'll let you know that. They'll let you know it's not easy to be out there by yourself, because when you have brothers, there's more brothers that throw logs into the fire, and you feed off one another, and so on and so forth. Now, a beautiful thing, we have the common board as well, but the spirit goes that way. So especially for brothers that teach by themselves, that takes a heavy spirit to do, and this work pretty much is not something that you just it looks one way, so you think you're just going to jump into it that same way. All right, it's a whole experience. Now I'm going to get this real quick. This is the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 21. It says, prove all things, hold fast that which is good. Now, in order to prove all things, you need to know these things. When you're making a point and you're speaking on a certain subject, you need to know, okay, what happens if I am asked a question about this? Can I answer it? Or am I just going to say, this is it? And then you ask me, well, how do you know it is it? And I'm saying, well, it makes sense to me. I know it's it, but I can't really. I'm trying to figure out how. Well, you got to figure that out before you go. You know what I'm saying? You go out and you teach it. All right. Now let me go back. This is I believe it's Second Timothy 2:15. All right, this is the book of Second Timothy, chapter 2, verse 15. It says, "Study to show thyself approved unto God." Right? So when you study, you're studying to show yourself approved to the Most High, because when you go out there and you speak in the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, or you speaking the you're trying to teach as as an ambassador of Yahweh Shai, guess what? You need to be approved to the Most High. He needs to know that you are worthy. You are going to represent him the correct way. And that's why sometimes he'll send people your way, all right, to come and ask you certain questions and try to see, to test you, to test your knowledge in the scriptures. It says here, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. So why would you not be ashamed? Because you know what you're talking about. You can go in there and prove it. But if you say something and you're not really knowledgeable on it, and somebody's, oh, well, what about this? And then you look, you're gonna feel ashamed because you can't defend the point that you're making, even though your point may be correct. You may have a correct point. You may have a valid, correct point, and you may know it's true, and you may believe it's true, and it may be true, but especially when you're dealing with the scriptures, there's a reason we have these verses here, because they are to speak according to the scriptures, but you have to pull out them precepts. All right, you have to use the precepts to speak with precepts, and in order to speak with precepts, you have to know the precepts. All right, I did see speaking of precepts, I did see some good ones on here. There we go. This is Jeremiah the weeping prophet 144. Ecclesiasticus 3:25. Without eyes thou shalt want light. Profess not the knowledge, therefore, that thou hast not. Yeah, because you just might get tested on it. Yep, we just brought this out, but twice as nice. Aram Kanaktaza, 1 Thessalonians 5:21. Prove all things, hold fast that which is good. All right. Now there was also one more that was put up here. There we go. This is it. Strive for the masteries 144. Colossians 4:6. Let your speech always be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that ye may know how ye ought to answer every man. All right. So how is that going to come by? Heavily through experience, but that's why you study. That's why you read. The more you read, the more precepts you come across, and the more questions you may come up with, and then you get answers to those questions. And watching videos, man, watching the camp videos, watching sit down videos, you'll hear precepts be brought out, and you'll hear how they're used, and you'll hear what they mean. All right, and that'll give you, and the more and more you keep hearing that and having that experience, you'll be picking up on these things. All right, and before you know it, you'll be learned enough to where you can go teach. And speaking on that, I'm going to just end it off with that. Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 1. It says, moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, eat that thou findest, eat this roll, and go speak unto the house of Israel. And that roll is dealing with the scriptures, the Bible. It says, so I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll. And he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat, and fill thy bowels with this roll that I give thee. Now, this is not literal, but it's speaking of eating it with your mind, as they have the saying, food for thought. So eating it with your mind and understanding it. It says, and fill thy bowels with this roll that I give thee. Then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness. So you got to eat the whole roll. All right, you got to eat the whole roll, the sweet and the bitter, the good and the bad, because that's how you get 100%. Okay, that's how you got 100%. All right, this is a Rum Chanach Tizak, 1 Peter 3:15. But sanctify the Lord power in your hearts, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of the hope that is in you with meekness and fear. So if somebody asks you, well, this is what you're saying. Why are you saying that? Why do you believe this? Why is this the case? Where in the scriptures does it say that? Well, you gotta be able to give them an answer. So remember, we don't make things up and look for precepts to back it up. No, we read the precepts, and then the Lord has blessed us with the doctrine, and that's why the precepts always fall in line with what we say, because we've gotten the doctrine, the message that the precepts are saying. See, when you read the Bible, there's stories, history, traditions, laws, statutes, commandments, prophecies. But within all of that, there is a line that ties it all together, and that line is the doctrine. There is a doctrine in the Bible, meaning there is an overall message inside of the Bible, and all the precepts will point to that message. That is why we're able to bring out this precept here and this precept there, and it all backs what we're saying, because we've the Lord has blessed us, starting with the elders and apostles, with what is the overall message that the Bible is speaking. And then we can get they teach you that you got your main idea or your thesis, and then you have your supporting details, right? So we got or derived at the thesis or the main idea by reading the supporting details and finding out, oh, okay, this detail here, this detail here, this detail here is basically telling me one thing. Okay, it's like saying eating too much, can make you overweight. Eating too much can kill you. Eating too much, can make you develop health problems. Eating too much, can make you gluttonous. Eating too much can do, and all you keep seeing are proofs on eating too much, what it can lead to, what can eat. Eventually, what conclusion are you gonna arrive at when you read that? Well, eating too much must be bad. It's not good to eat too much, because all the details here are pointing to the reasons why it's not good to eat too much. So you can arrive at the main idea based on the supporting details. And once you have that main idea, all the details will support that idea. If you read a detail that says eating too much can eventually lead to death, you cannot come and say, well, the main message here is that it's good to eat too much. How then that detail or that supporting detail does not back up that main idea? Well, think of the precepts as the supporting details. So that's why somebody comes and says, oh, God loves everybody, but then the precepts don't back up that message, because that's the wrong message. Oh, Edomites can make it, but the precepts don't back that up, because that's the wrong message. But when we tell you the Lord is only dealing with the nation of Israel, the precepts back it up. And that's why they get mad, because they're looking for certain precepts that don't back it up, but then they get messed up on that anyway, because they'll come up to us with something and then we'll explain what that really is. See, the MOTB is Christianity. The precepts don't back that up. So then all of a sudden there's all these questions. When we tell you the MOTB is the CHIP, the Charagma, the precepts back it up. And that's why we're so quick to go to the precepts. Somebody that knows that the precepts don't back up what he's saying, he ain't gonna want to be quick to go and pull them precepts out. That's why when you ask a Christian, show me in the scriptures where it says that, they get stuck, because it doesn't say that in the scriptures. So instead, they'll try to turn it around. But you notice every time they come up, it's always us having to go into the scriptures to prove our point, but they can't do that. And when they try, Lord have mercy, it's a horrible, horrible, horrible thing to watch. A perfect example is Vocab alone trying to break down Revelation 13 and 10. And then he jumps up to the top verses and then skips over the breakdown of that and then jumps back down. No, see, you got to go back to the top. You got to go back to the top. You got to get the understanding of what this is. This is talking about a beast. Okay, who's the beast? It says 40 and 2 months. So he's going to have power for 40 and 2 months. How long is that? So now we're going to jump back down to verse 10. This is talking about, so why did you jump back up to the first verses in the first place if you weren't going to explain it? Or you just wanted to make it seem like you knew what you were talking about? Anyway, I've gone long enough. This is, I'm going to finish it off with this. This is Jude 12, 144, Jude 1 and 3. Beloved, when I gave all diligence to write unto you of the common salvation, it was needful for me to write unto you and exhort you that ye should earnestly contend for the faith. Continuing, it says, which was once delivered unto the saints. All right, and the saints are who? Israelites. That's why our minds are being our damn, I forgot how it's worded, but I stir up your minds by way of remembrance, your pure minds by way of remembrance. So that's what's happening. All right, because we once had this, and now the Lord is stirring it back up. All right, that's why you say you woke up. We're waking up. All right. So with that, I'm going to end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha Kudash. And until next time, Shalom.